as an elder millennial who was a teen and a college student in the early 2000s, I have some opinions on this. You see, because even though there was a lot of rampant and visible sexuality, especially from women in the media and in pop culture and music and all that kind of stuff in the early 2000s, it was very, 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 very different from what we're seeing now. First of all, whether people like to admit it or not, the sexuality, the overt, over-the-top sexuality that was going on in the early 2000s, it was kind of a pushback against conservatism. While people look at this now and they go, oh, well, this was glamorized. You guys glamorized this kind of bimbo cult. Not really. It was kind of like a freak show. These women were not praised for this. Even though they made a ton of money and people loved to tune in, people were not kind to them. Okay, they got ripped apart for this, and it was the same across the board in the early 2000s. Yeah, you would see women like this everywhere, but they weren't praised for it. It was, you know. And at the same time, in my personal opinion, at least from what I was consuming, it was a more self-possessed sexuality. You had things like Sierra with Goodies, right, which is a whole song about like, yeah, here it is, and you can't have it because it's mine to decide what I want to do, right? That's essentially the summary of the song. And again, you can even argue that this kind of like bimbo hypersexual culture, you know, not obviously there's some exterior ones, like we're not going to talk about the Britney Spears, but like this was arguably also a self-possession of that, because again, this was not easygoing, right? They ripped them apart. Go and look what happened to Courtney Stodden, right? Women like this, even though they got given a lot of attention, it was not positive attention, even if they were getting money. So with that kind of experience and awareness in mind, that's why I'd say to you and point out, like, these pop girlies that have come out, especially in like the last decade, it's not the same thing. It's not a self-possessed, I'm going to have this, and if I want to benefit from it, I will. It's a very much, look at me, please, men, please, men, you're entitled to this. Look, I have the best thing that you're entitled to. It's a completely different ballgame. Side note, there's also a big difference in the parenting around that kind of media and sexuality. I was having to hide in my room to do Britney Spears dances. Now, mothers like this record their kids doing this in all kinds of situations and put it online for their kids to digest. So, early 2000s sexuality and what's going on today with kids and music and media, two different ball games. Can't even compare them.